We're going? Well, good morning, guys. Welcome to our 2021 Seating End User Clinic. There's no replacement for an in-person clinic, but this year we're doing everything virtually with the way that this year has gone. So welcome, thank you for joining us. We'll start with some introductions. To my right is Tim Mackay, the Corporate Service Manager and Corporate Product Specialist working out of Saskatoon, but he's all around the globe working across Saskatchewan and Alberta. And then to Tim's right is Peter Kruger, who is the Product Support Specialist for Northern Saskatchewan, and myself, Wyatt Lortz, Product Support Specialist for Southern Saskatchewan. So we have today a P-Series cart with us and a P-Series disc drill that we'll be covering. We're going to start by going through some presentations, and then Peter's going to take the lead. He's going to walk through the cart, and then we'll cover a presentation on the drill, and then I'll take the lead and walk through the drill that we have here. But some simple housekeeping. We have the washrooms in the back. If you got to use the washroom, we have donuts and coffee here. Just joking. But let's kick things off with the presentation, and then Peter will take the lead.
Virtual donuts.
Yeah, we'll send the donuts out in an emoji or something. But okay, let's get at the presentation then. Thanks, guys. So our Robertson Implements 2021 Seating Customer Clinic. Like I said, we're going to cover the P-Series carts to start. So New Holland offers 7 carts. The model number describes what the cart consists of. So the first number in the model number is a 4 in this scenario here, the P4950. So that means there are 4 tanks on that cart. The last 3 digits will represent the total bushel capacity. And something to keep in mind, the 4th tank is the auxiliary tank. So that's the small tank that is underneath between tank 1 and 2. When we do the walk around, Peter will show you guys the auxiliary tank. We have a little clip that we're going to put in there of the inside of the auxiliary tank as well, showing the tank leveling system and the tank level sensors. On the next slide, the P4950 is only available in tow behind. So something to keep in mind, the biggest cart is only available in tow behind. The 4760 though is available in both tow behind and tow between. The 4760 and the 4950 are our wide frame carts. So the wide frame carts are available up to 12 sections. The narrow frame carts are available up to 10 sections. Also, the wide frame carts come with the high float tires for a little bit more flotation due to the heavier cart. So the auxiliary tanks in the 4460 and the 4580 are 25 bushel auxiliary tanks. The auxiliary tank in the 4760 and the 4950 are 35 bushel auxiliary tanks. And the scales were introduced during model year 20, starting with serial number ending in 53. All model year 21 carts are scale ready. So keep that in mind. If you have a model year 20 cart, if your serial number is after the serial number ending in 53, your tank is scale ready. If it's not, your tank is not scale ready. Curve compensation. So this is an awesome new feature on our 2021 carts. Curve compensation works by adjusting the rate across every section. So we're applying a uniform and even application across your drill when turning and going through the field. Over applied areas, if you're not using curve compensation, over applied areas will have crowded stands resulting in risk of plant lodging, interplant competition, and risk of higher disease pressure. Under applied areas will have a thin stand that can result in increased weed competition, uneven maturity, and inefficient light interception. So curve compensation is New Holland's way of countering all of these issues. Curve compensation is available from factory on all model year 2021 FlexiCoil P-Series carts. It can also be added to model year 2020 via a dealer installed activation. Our P-Series carts are a Type B seed distribution system. So this means that product is metered from the tank directly into the 2.5-inch primary runs. From the 2.5-inch primary runs, product will run back to your drill or run forward, depending if it's toe behind or toe between, but will run to your drill. And there is one point of division for that product, and that is going to be at your easy flow headers, where it will be divided and smoothly transitioned to your 1-inch secondary hoses. We will demonstrate that too when we go through the cart and drill.
Just in addition, tell the guys to type in their comments on the right-hand side, please, if they have any questions.
I apologize, Tim just brought this up. I should have said this in the introduction, but if you guys have any questions, there should be on the right-hand side of your screen a question box there. Feel free to type questions in there, put questions in there. If you guys have anything, ask away. A totally open conversation here. We're trying to make this as close to a real clinic as possible, but this is, as close as we can get. So put the questions in there. Feel free to type away if you have anything to ask, and questions will be answered live. The fans. So on double chute air carts, there's going to be 2 fans for the top and the bottom chute. The maximum oil flow for each fan is 25 gallons per minute at 6,000 RPM. The lower fan runs your alternator, which charges the onboard batteries on the cart. The onboard batteries are used for running all the electrical on your cart, running your meter, motors, the lights. The only thing that the onboard batteries do not run are the road lights. So something to keep in mind if you are single shooting, run your product through the bottom run, because if you don't, you're not going to be charging that alternator and the batteries will die. The lower fan, when it is reversed, is going to run your auger controls. When the upper fan is reversed, it's going to run your auxiliary tank fill system. And there are air plenums that are in the manifolds for your fans. These air plenums are going to work by dividing the air up evenly across each run, whether it's 10 run, 8 run, 12 run, however many runs there are. It's going to work by dividing it up evenly so that you have even air distribution and even airflow through each run going to your drill.
Charging system, the alternator, how does that work? And is it a 24 volt or 12 volt?
Tim just asked the charging system, how does it work, and what is the voltage of the system? Our charging system is a 24 volt system. So there are 2 12 volt batteries on the cart connected in a way that it's creating a 24 volt system. It is hydraulically driven, the alternator, off of that lower fan. So when you are running that lower fan, it is driving hydraulically to your alternator, running your alternator to charge those batteries. That's why your lower fan needs to be ran, so that you can run that hydraulic system to charge that alternator. So thanks, Tim, great question. The fan speed test. The fan speed test is used to determine the proper fan speed for your product, to avoid seed bounce, and in extreme scenarios, seed breakage. So the fan speed test works by removing a hose from the most outside opener and fastening it to the frame of the air drill. Fasten it to the frame and keep it flush with the top of the frame, and then start seeding at your normal operating speed, and observe the height that the seed is coming out of that hose. It should be coming out anywhere from 12 to 24 inches, right in that range. If it's coming out more, adjust your fan speed or your ground speed to bring the seed down. If it's coming out less, adjust your fan speed and your ground speed as well. Always start at the top of your speed range, or your fan speed range, and work your way down, rather than doing a fan speed test and then plugging right off the bat. Then you got to unplug your drill and you were just trying to do a fan speed test. So start at the top of your range, work your way down, just to get that fan speed dialed in. We put on here some initial fan speeds as well. If you're doing single shooting, double shooting, your rates, product, densities. So start at the top of your fan speeds and work your way down when you're doing your fan speed test, and get that seed coming up about 12 to 24 inches when you're doing the fan speed test. Our metering system, under each tank, features a bank of meter modules. Product is metered into each 2.5-inch primary run via the Intellerate modular metering system. So each Each primary run has an individual module and meter roller segment. Each module will control product to one section. So if you have a 12-section cart, you're going to have 12 modules on your tank. If you have a 10-section cart, you will have 10 modules on your tank. So up to 10 sections are available on the narrow frame and 12 sections available on the wide frame, which we mentioned earlier, but just to reiterate that. The meter roller segments are driven by those 24-volt motors, which is why it's a 24-volt system. The meter rollers are ran anywhere from 4 to 95 RPM. The optimum speed is right between 20 and 40, but the range is 4 to 95. The reason that we have the optimum speed there is if you are doing your curve compensation and you're already at 4 RPM, it can't come down any further on that outside section. So you want to try to maintain somewhere close to the middle, maybe a little bit lower, but that is why there is an optimum range, but they can be ran between 4 and 95 RPM for those meter roller modules. So meter module cartridges. Meter cartridges are used to expose the meter roller segments. We're going to demonstrate this too when we do the walk around on the cart. But exposing the cartridges will allow more or larger product to flow through the cartridge. Different products and rates are determined by exposing these segments. Metering exposure is controlled by switching the entire cartridge out of the module. When Peter's doing the walkthrough, he's going to show you guys how to remove a cartridge from the module as well. No tools required, very simple and very quick. The auxiliary tank will come with the narrow cartridge from factory, so that's the white cartridge. And all the other tanks will come with the black full width cartridge from factory. Meter rollers. So after you have determined the proper cartridge, then you have to select the proper meter to go in that cartridge. So something to keep in mind is that orange cartridge is recommended only for inoculants.
Cartridges, and orange only being recommended. If you have the white cartridge and the black cartridge, is that usable for inoculants as well?
The question was when using inoculants and using that orange cartridge, the orange meter roller, can you still use the narrow and the full width cartridge using that meter? And the answer is yes. You can put any meter with any cartridge, they would all work, and it's dependent on your product. If you're having a hard time getting that inoculant to flow through the narrow cartridge, then you can put a bigger cartridge in there to allow that product to flow through there more even. Just do a calibration. Make sure you have calibrated that module and calibrated that the system with the new cartridge and the new meter, because if you don't calibrate it, the system still thinks you have the old cartridge in there, the smaller cartridge or the bigger cartridge, and your rates will be totally off. So if you do switch out that cartridge, calibrate the system. And we will walk through a calibration here too, as soon as we're done the portion of the presentation on the cart. What's that? Yeah, if Tim ever leaves me alone with questions, but no, that's a really good question. And no, I more than recommend it. Ask away, get the questions rolling. There's nothing to hold off with there. So metering controls. There are 4 controls for each module, each bank of modules, and the control is determined by where the locking handle is. So if you have the locking handle in the top position, you are in tank clean out mode. So you have opened that tank right up, you're bypassing the meter, you are going from the tank to the ground. So most of the time you're doing that to clean out your tanks. If you have the handle in the middle position, you are now metering product into the top primary run. If you have the handle in the bottom position, you are metering product into the bottom primary run. And if the handle is not in any position and it's just hanging loose, you are in calibration mode and you are calibrating the meters. So our filling system. Filling can be done using the onboard conveyor or auger, which is controlled by a wireless remote. Up to a 10-inch auger or a 12-inch conveyor tube which will be containing a 16-inch belt, can be equipped on your tank. Filling system can also be used to empty the product tanks out as well. So Peter, when we're doing the walk around, will show you guys a pin in the back that you can pull to get a little bit more access to get underneath that bottom tank with the onboard auger when you're cleaning out the back tank. But you can empty every tank on this cart with the auger that is on auger or conveyor that is on the tank. Filling the auxiliary tank is done from the ground using the auxiliary tank fill system. We have a video coming up here showing that as well. So braking, the P4760 and P4950 carts will come standard with braking systems to help accommodate the size of the carts. 2 double piston calipers on each wheel proportionally apply brakes based on the deceleration rate of the tractor. Now these systems utilize hydraulic oil, not brake fluid. And the braking system is connected to the tractor brakes, to the brake lights, or it can be activated using the in-cab brake controller as well. So we're going to play a short video for you here of the auxiliary tank fill system. And then we're going to move on to the walk around of the cart. Is mic still on, Devin? Is mic still on? It's okay if it is. It's fine. This mic is still hot. Still on.
Remember to expand on that. I'll ask you questions about the auxiliary system. No, it's the only one he's had, the only question he's had so far.
What's the question?
Oh.
Is that, can you use a mini book or something? Is that a guess?
Yep.
Why is that?
Why is that? You just use the mini bulk, you sit over top, you cut it. This fan, or this section, this hopper will keep up to the mini bulk.
Okay, are you ready, Peter?
So why do we expand on the tank, on the scales?
Oh, just to let them know that the scales are there. It's a way of verifying just how accurate this metering system is. Basically, all you need to do.
Alrighty, good morning everybody. So we're going to start on the cart, start in the front here. We've got our 3/4 inch couplers for our fans, our 1/2 inch couplers for the implement at the back. We have our trailer light, our rolling lights, and we have our ISO plug that we are using on this one. And if you do have cameras, you'll also have your camera plug in here to disconnect your cameras if you're going to disconnect it. Moving towards the back, we have our ladder and our ladder down sensor that will warn you in the tank, in the cab of the tractor on the display if you do forget it down, especially on the tow behind carts. That's kind of important. Then moving to the back, we have our 2 fans. Just again, make sure that if you do single shooting, use your lower fan for charging your alternators.
Why don't I show them the ladder up so they can see how much clearance actually is? Let's talk about how easy it was.
So now you got a wall of clearance there, and you saw how easy it was. Even Tim can do it, so it's really easy. Moving to the back, into the front of the tanks. On each tank we have our tank pressurization lines, our tank pressurization sensors, our bin level sensors, and if you do have cameras, your camera lines will go in there as well. Then we can move to the side over here.
Why do we need pressurization lines on the tanks? What is their goal in life?
To make sure that you have positive pressure in your tank, to make sure that it falls into your airstream.
They can't hear my question. So
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So Tim was asking why do we need tank pressurization in the tanks? So that is so that the air that comes into the stream don't push the product up. So you have pressure in the tank that's actually pushing the product down, so it can fall into the airstream and go out to your openers.
okay, good.
So moving to the side over here. So in the front here, you can see our ECU for the camera. So on this unit, we've got 5 cameras, 1 in each tank, and a backup camera as well, or a rear-facing camera, I would say. This tank's equipped with scales. So there's our load cells up there. The bigger tanks got 4 cells each, and then our auxiliary tanks got 3 cells. These here, our tank pressurization lines, that from here on it will go to a ball valve on the other side, and that's where we're going to guide whether or not we're going to use the upper or lower chutes, and we will show you that when we get there. Scale monitor, both sides we have a scale monitor. So if you select scale number 2 on this side, it will automatically select scale number 2 on the other side as well, and vice versa. All 3, the big tanks, it's got agitation in it. So it's a little auger in the middle that turns, that will break up if you had lumpy products. And if you can see on the scale now, Tim's actually on the tank, and that's 1,280 pounds. So
Big breakfast this morning.
so that's, yeah, what, 280 pounds. Wow. Should cut out some a bit there, Tim. Okay, so talking about the tanks again, the agitation. Each tank's got the agitation. So that prevents lumpy products from lumping up and blocking your runs. So that agitation just breaks them up and make sure you do not have any blockage in the system. That helps you. Our auxiliary tank has got a leveler in. So that basically levels the product at the bottom of the tank. And it will turn both ways. And inside the tank, we have 3 sensors. So if you have more product on one side, it will actually turn both ways, like I said, and it will make sure that you got product all across the bottom of your tank. So that helps you when you do a lot of section control or you have turn compensation. That's where that advantage is, so you do not run out on one side and then eventually have misses in the field. This lever over here, that is for venting when we are using our auxiliary fill. Just make sure that you open it when you fill and make sure that you close it when you go seating, else you're going to lose all your air out of it. Then we can move on to the auxiliary fill. And while we're moving, just want to say thanks to Devon again. He's behind the scenes there and he's helping us a lot. So auxiliary fill, first thing we're going to do is our upper fan. We're going to reverse the upper fan. Then we're going to get flow to our hydraulics for the auxiliary fill. We have this little cover over the fan at the back here, just to make sure that we don't have any dirt or anything going into the fan. We have our blocking off plate down here. You just got to move up so that your holes line up so your airflow gets in there. And you're going to activate your fan and your seed roller, and it's going to start sucking product into the tank. And you have your side glass here to see when it's full, or you can use your scales.
And that scale, Devin was up on the tank with me.
You lie, Devin was down here. That's all you, buddy. And you're not even going to help putting it in. When you're done, just make sure you close your line-up plate down here so you don't lose air. And also your venting lever over there, make sure you close it, else you're going to lose air. And then we can move around to the other side or to the back. So all the way up there at the back, you can see our rear-facing camera. So that's what on the Stowe Twin card, you can see the implement, or you can see what those city slickers are doing on the roads when you transport the unit on road. Down here, we've got our toolbox. So in here, you'll have your 2 calibration bags. You'll have your remote for the unloading auger or the unloading conveyor. You have a 14mm socket and ratchet, and you have your little scale in here as well. So also here, we've got our 1/2-inch couplers that goes to the implement, our trailer plug again, and then ISO plug. Gotta zoom that lens wide to get them in there now. So we're gonna go up into the unloading auger. Just a little hint, this is that pin that White was talking about. Make sure you pull this pin, that gives you that little bit of extra reach to be able to clean your tank number 3 out here at the back. If you do not pull it, you're gonna just get short.
Here, that plate that's on the floor, what is that? Just repeat the question.
So Tom was asking us this plate, what this plate is. So this is the bottom plate at the bottom of your metering. So you can see we've got one in there. So that's blocking it off as well, so you don't lose air through here. So make sure that when you do put this in, you put it in correct, not at an angle, so you will lose air if you do not put this back correct. So this is the plate we're going to remove basically for the calibration on the other side, on this side. Then we can move around to the side. So still on the unloading auger or the conveyor. So this is a hydraulic block for the conveyor. So on this one, we're going to reverse the lower fan to get oil flow to this. We're going to connect the remote. And now you'll see this is our little ECU that will connect to the remote for you to be able to run the conveyor. You'll see there's no lights on now. It's got a safety switch on here with this lever. So we got to pull this pin out, move it forward. Now you can see the lights are flashing. So now we can connect with our remote and operate our auger. And then moving to the front of the auger here, we've got our clean out plates. Just 2 clips and you can remove the plate, and now you can run it and it will clean it out. And we have another one right up here as well. Then moving to our tanks, like I said, the ball valves for our tank pressurization. Each tank's got its own one. So if you're gonna go lower chute, down to the lower position, upper to the upper position. Just a little hint, when you do use your auxiliary tank with fine inoculants, you probably wanna just open this halfway so you don't have too much air pressure in the tank to force that product out. Coming to the auxiliary tank. Gonna show you the inside of the auxiliary tank. So as you can see, inside the auxiliary tank, we have our 3 sensors and our levering auger that's running there. You can see how that works. Moving down to the, okay, and then of course we got our scale monitor on this side as well. So moving down to our metering systems and our seed gate positions. So just going to show you the, in your toolbox at the back, this is that red shit I told you about with your 14mm socket. So this is to open and close your tanks, the seed gate. You just put it on a hex shaft on the side here, and you slide this to the in position. So now your tank is closed off, so now you can remove your metering systems, or if you have a blockage or something, now you can clean it up. And to open it up, you're just gonna slide this out. And now it is open again, so now you can go seeding again. So the lever positions on this unit, we've got this lever in the front here. So with the lever out like this now we're in calibration mode, so now we will calibrate the unit. If we have it in the top position, like that, now the product is gonna bypass the metering system and just gonna drop out, so this is for clean out. If we have it in the middle position, so now we're gonna use our top chute. And the lower position, now we're gonna use our lower chute. We will move on to just showing you how to pull a meter out. So you just gotta basically have your, in clean out, you have 2 little clips that you're gonna pull. And that's as easy as it is. And then just stick it back in. Over here we have our switch boxes for our calibration, and also if you wanted to activate the leveler in the auxiliary tank, this is the button that you will use for that. So just starting with our, showing you our metering. This one is the narrow cartridge. So you can see it's just open on the top and closed at both those openings. So up here we have our half cartridge. You can see it's closed up there and it's just open on this half piece over there. And then we have our full cartridge, which is open on both ways. So these metering rollers is plastic, it's a hardened plastic, so they do last. But we do have stainless steel available, so if you do have a lot of wear issues, you can just pull this out and get a new one, stick it in, push it in, a little twist, and that's how you can change that.
Peter, there's a question. The older carts with the previous shut off, what's the best way, or where is that located to shut those tanks off?
So the question was the previous series air carts, which did not have this direct locked tank shut off. On the other side, you actually had a lever. With that one, you had to push the lever sideways, forwards or backwards, opening and closing it. On that one, you did have to have 2 people, one to run, clean it out, and one to close the meter. So that was a bit of a troublesome issue, but they've really improved it with this direct shut off now. It's really easy. Alrighty, moving on to calibration. So first we gotta tear our calibration bag. So we're gonna put our scale on. Put the calibration bag on, and the way to zero this scale on the New Holland scale you get with it is just double tap it and it goes to 0. So now we tear our bag. Gonna stick our bag into the calibration slot. So we're gonna go to our display over here. So on the display, we're gonna hit our menu button. The first icon on the left, we're gonna go to meter calibration. We're gonna say launch wizard. So we're gonna do all meters. So you can do all meters or single meters. All meters means you're gonna run all the meters on that card. And single meters mean you're gonna just do one run closest to the left-hand side over here. So we're gonna do all meters, and we're gonna do tank number 2. Gonna go next. Then we have our checklist. Make sure your meter cartridges are installed. Tanks are filled with correct product. Diverter gates set to the calibration position, which we are. The lever is out. Collect container bags are in place, and the best accuracy is achieved when product has settled. So we're gonna go next. Now we're gonna move to the tank, and we're gonna turn our switch on. So right now we're gonna turn tank number 2 on because that's the one we wanna calibrate. And then we've got our calibration button, and we are dropping product now into our bag. If you've got enough product, you can just let go of the button, and you can also do 2 at a time if you wanted to. If one fills up sooner than the other, just simply turn the switch off on that one, and the other one will continue going. So now we're gonna weigh our product. So we got about 9.8 on there. So we're gonna go back to the display. We're gonna click next, and then there it's gonna ask us for our weight. So we're gonna say 9.8, enter, and then we're gonna hit the next button. So there's our calibration factor, 32.12 pounds per 100 revolutions. So we're gonna go again. So now we're gonna do a single meter calibration. So we're gonna go into meter calibration again, launch wizard again. So now we're gonna select single meter. Gonna go tank number 2 again. Go next, there's our checklist again. Gonna go next, and we're gonna go to the tank and meet the product out of that 1 meter now.
Peter,
Yeah.
how high does the scale go?
Oh. So on this little scale you get with the system, the maximum it can take is 50 pounds. So Tim won't be able to weigh himself on that one. So make sure that when you do get product out of there, don't go more than 50 pounds. So now you see we got the bucket under this first run. We got the tank number 2 on again, and we're gonna push the button, and we're gonna distribute product out of there as well. Obviously, the more product you can get through there, the closer your calibration will be. But we've got a limit on 50 pounds on our scale, so just be sure to make sure you don't go more than that. Oh, and
There's a pail that
the
we-
pail appears because I didn't tear the scale. I would have been out now. Double tap again. So we have 4 pounds on this one. So we're gonna go back to the display. We're gonna hit next, and up there, how much was that now? 4 pounds. Gonna hit 4, and next, and our calibration 31.33. So you see it was 32 point something. So we are just about spot on. Yeah, so obviously if we had 30 or 40 pounds, it would have been spot on, dead spot on. So that's the calibration and the air card. Any questions, any comments?
Can we use the scales to monitor our product?
Good question. So the question was, the scales, can we, what's the advantages of the scales and all that? So on the display, actually it will show you on your scales, the area remaining, the acres. So each tank will show you how much product you got remaining. And also you can double check your calibration on that. So if you see the tank is not going the way it should be, because you can see your weights as you're seeding, you can know there's something wrong, either a blockage or something's wrong with your metering. And then also when you're gonna, if you're at the last field with canola, let's say, and you wanna finish all that canola in that field without having to empty up, You can change your calibration factors compared to your weight you got left, and you can finish that field with that product so you don't have to clean out.
And it'll show you just how accurate that seeding system is.
And that will show you just how accurate our seeding system really is.
Okay, there's no other questions, so we'll move on to.
So we'll move on to the next steps. Thank you very much. Oh, shoot.
Okay, we did a quick mic swap. So we're going to do a quick presentation on the P-Series drills and then do a walk around on the drill that we have here. So before we get started, I just want to say thank you to C&H as well for letting us use the training center. It's really nice having such a big facility to do this kind of stuff. So thank you very much. So let's go into the P-Series drills. First drill we're going to cover is the P2050, which is available in the 33, 39, 45, 51, and 57 foot widths. Available with 7.2 inch, 10 inch, and 12 inch spacing. On-row packing, steel or rubber packer wheels. The front caster wheels and rear press wheels keep the frame level to maintain seating depth. The front caster wheels and the rear press wheels will carry the drill. So there are no wheels underneath the drill, which allows for optimum residue flow and trash flow underneath the drill. And there is a single point depth adjustment on the 2050 as well. So the P2060 Hoe Drill, which is available in 60, 70, and 80 foot widths, 7.5 inch, 10 inch, and 12 inch spacing. It has a unique rear folding to fit down tight roads under low hanging power lines. And with that transport system, all the caster wheels are on the ground during transport, which makes transporting smooth and easy. The depth of the front two opener rows will follow the terrain of the closest caster assembly. The rear two opener wheels will follow the terrain for the rear press wheels. So that is how the drill will contour the ground. Moving on to our P2075 Precision Hoe Drill. This drill is available in 50, 60, and 70 foot widths with 10 inch or 12 inch spacing. It features individual opener depth control for outstanding ground following capability. We're going to demonstrate the opening assembly on the P2075 opener as well as soon as the presentation is over. Easy operating seed depth adjustment without the need for tools. A parallel link is ideal for precise depth control with small seed crops. Then we have our P2080 Precision Disc Drill, which is our single chute air disc drill. It is available in 30, 40, 50, and 60 foot widths with a spacing of 77.5 and 10 inch spacing, not 75. It does require an air cart. We offer a disc drill with an onboard tank. This one requires a cart to be pulled with it. Up to 8 miles per hour operating speed. The seed depth adjustment goes from anywhere from 0 inches to 3.5 inches with 14 increments in that range. So each depth adjustment is a 1/4 inch of depth change. And there are no tools required to adjust your depth. We will also demonstrate that here as well. Then we have our P2082, which is our double shoot precision disc drill for seed and fertilizer placement. As you can see in the picture, the seed and the fertilizer are placed in two separate trenches. The seed is actually placed on a shelf, which is 3/4 of an inch to the side and 3/4 of an inch above the fertilizer. So we will demonstrate how that seed and how that fertilizer is placed when we go through the opener. The P2082 is also available in the 30, 40, 50, and 60-foot widths, just like the P2080, but it is only available with 10-inch spacing. And it can be operated up to 8 miles per hour. And the same seed depth adjustment, anywhere from 0 inches to 3.5 inches, with 14 depth increments in between. Each increment is a 1/4 inch change. We offer the intelligent ag blockage system, which uses acoustic sensors to indicate the flow of product through the secondary runs. So the sensors are mounted directly in the 1-inch secondary lines. As the product bounces off of a steel plate in that sensor, the sound is recorded by the tower's ECU. The ECU will process that sound and the recording, and it will send the information to the iPad in the cab completely wirelessly. So the system will alert you if a run is blocked. It will also indicate flow variances across the runs, so you can see how product is flowing across your tower. Now we have a short video. This video was actually taken by Tim. This was down south. The customer was having some trouble with hairpinning, so Tim ended up bringing out a P2082. This is a 50-foot drill, and they were seeding at about 7 miles per hour is what Tim says, and there was no hairpinning. This field was harvested with a stripper header too, so heavy trash field. Because of the way that we place our seed, we do not hairpin in our seed. It doesn't happen. And yeah, like I said, seeding about 7 miles per hour and with a P-series cart in the back. So this fixed the customer's issue with hairpinning, so he ended up keeping the drill in tank. And you'll see in the back of the drill, there's all those weights. We'll talk about the weights on the back of the drill as well when we do the drill walk around. So that was a P2082 double shoot disc drill. Pretty good. Okay, so like I said, we wanted to cover the P2075 opener before we cover the P2082 disc drill. We just want to quickly talk about the depth setting adjustment and the parallel linkage. So like I said in the presentation, there's no tools required to change your depth. You simply pull and turn to adjust the depth of the opener. It's that simple. There's no tools. In a matter of seconds, you've changed your depth. So this is our precision P2075 opening assembly. This is the depth adjustment for that drill. And the parallel linkage, what a parallel linkage means is the relationship between the packing wheel and the opener does not change as the drill goes, the opener goes up and down. And I shouldn't say it does not change. There's 9 inches of travel that this drill and opener can make, the opener and the packer wheel, sorry, can make before the relationship starts to fall apart. So I'll demonstrate that for you quick. As you can see, the opener and the packer wheel go up together, and it's up to 9 inches until that relationship between the packer wheel and the opener will start to change. So this is a true parallel link precision opener with our parallel linkage and our opening assembly, depth assembly.
So I have a question.
We have a question.
The opener, when your opener goes up and down, does the seed bed change and the seed placement change while the opener is going up and down?
Compared to fertilizer?
The fertilizer and the seed.
No. So the question is, if the opener is going up and down, does the relationship between the seed and fertilizer placement change? And the answer is no. At all times, the seed and the fertilizer will be placed 3/4 of an inch over and 3/4 of an inch above separation. So the seed will always be 3/4 of an inch up, 3/4 of an inch over from the fertilizer. Great question. That relationship will not change, and no matter what, because that is all done in the opening assembly. The parallel linkage is the relationship between the opener and the packer wheel. So that's a great question. Any other, like, if any questions, put them in that question box. It'll be on my left, but it'll be on your right. There should be a question box there on your screen where you can type questions away and get your questions answered. So type them in there. Don't be hesitant to ask questions. So we'll move on to the P2082 precision disc drill. At the front of the hitch, this is for a tow between tank, keep in mind. So you'll notice there are not hoses for fans. There's not a K-strain line. If this was for a tow behind tank, there'd be 3/4 inch couplers on here, 3/4 inch lines for your fans. And there would be a positive open K-strain. What a positive open K-strain means is there's zero pressure in the coupler for the K-strain. The reason that that is important is because our K-strain can have up to 3.5 gallons per minute coming back through that K-strain. So it's important that there's no pressure in that coupling to add resistance through the circuit. So ensure that there's a positive open K-strain for the K-strain connection, for the K-strain coupling. We have our hookups for the primary manifolds, the 2.5 inch lines. They're color coded, white and black for seed on the white, fertilizer on the black. The seed towers will be the top tower, the fertilizer tower will be the bottom tower. So color-coded primary connections. We have a category 4 hitch on the front of this hitch. It can be ordered with a category 5. Something to keep in mind is the hitch on these drills is a floating hitch, so there's no weight on this hitch. If you order it with a category 5, it could be out of convenience because you have a category 5 drawbar on your tractor, but it's not required to have a category 5 hitch on this drill because this is a floating hitch. There's no drawbar weight on your tractor. So this one has a category 4 hitch. If your tractor has a category 5 hitch and your drill is a category 4, you can get sleeves for your tractor pin and get a category 4 pin so that you can put a category 4 hitch on a category 5 drawbar. We then have the hydraulic hookups for our wing circuit and our depth circuit. We have our isobus connection harness and our lights, road lights harness as well. Moving to the side of the hitch, over here, we have our jack stand. On the bigger drills, you'll notice there'll be a second spot further back for your jack stand to be mounted on. That is for after your drill has been hooked up, take that jack off and put it on the rear spot so the tractor tires don't hit the jack and break your jack, bend your jack. So on the bigger drills, remove the jack from the front connection and put it on the bigger connection. On the smaller drills, there's only one spot for your jack to go. So there's only one connection on this hitch. Further back, we have our hydraulic valve block with our wing lockout valves. We have, so our wing lockout valves, our pressure transducer, our work switch, and our depth pressure sensor on the hydraulic valve block. So anyway, we're gonna move on to the side of the drill here. Before I do, actually, just to point out, there are 3 grease points in each caster assembly, one for each wheel bearing and then one for the bushing in the middle. So keep those grease points maintained. On the side of the drill, you'll notice that these drills have a very flexible hose and there seems to be excess line. That is because these openers will travel significantly more than a hoe drill will. So there has to be excess slack on here. Because of the travel, they equip these drills with a very flexible secondary hose. As you would have seen in that video, when that opener was down in the ground, that hose was traveling very nicely in a very straight manner. When everything's up, it appears to have excess droop on some of these lines, but that is necessary because of the travel. And with this extra flexible hose, you're not going to get those kinks and those bends when the temperature is changing. This hose is going to improve that greatly. At the rear is our weight brackets. This is a 30-foot drill, so it's not equipped with weights. If you are having a hard time getting your discs in the ground and getting that depth, you may have to equip your drill with weights. A lot of the bigger drills are coming with the full weight packages on them. This is a 30-foot drill. It doesn't have the weight package on it, but the reason the weights are on there is to add the weight to the frame so you can get those discs in the ground and force them into the ground in that hard packed soil. So that's your weight brackets and the weight kits that are available for these drills. And then coming around to the rear, we'll talk about the seed towers. Coming from the 2.5-inch primary runs to the 1-inch runs are, in the seed towers, are little dimples just before seed or product reaches your easy flow header. The purpose of these dimples is to create turbulence in the airstream, to spread those seeds out, because as those seeds come into the airstream, they're going to ride right along the side of the seed tower as it makes that change. So those dimples will create turbulence, spread those seeds out, so when they come in contact with your easy flow header, they will be spread out evenly, smoothly turn, change direction into your secondary runs. So there's not a sharp, harsh change of direction. It's a smooth transition from primary to secondary. And those dimples will create that turbulence so that seed is nice and spread out when it hits this easy flow header and smoothly transitions to your opener. So that is the purpose of those dimples in the seed towers. As you can see, this drill, I'll just put this cover on. As you can see, this drill is equipped with the intelligent Ag Blockage system, but only on the seed towers. The fertilizer towers is not equipped with anything. I'm not sure why that was desired, but it was not equipped with anything. Sorry, Tim.
I have a question. Are these easy flow towers just on the 2082 or are they on all units?
Oh, great question. Sorry. Tim was asking, are these easy flow headers only on the P2082 or on the disc drills, or are they on all of our units? The answer is these easy flow headers are on all of our P series drills. So if you have a P2050, it will have the easy flow header on it. Every one of our drills, all of our seed towers are equipped with the easy flow headers. So great question. And those easy flow headers, like I said, are there to help change that direction from the primary to secondary, because this is a B-type distribution system. So there is one change of direction within the entire system. This is that change of direction right here. So those easy flow headers are there to take that change in direction and make it as smooth and easy as possible. So we are limiting seed breakage. And also, with only one change in direction, we can run this system with a lower fan speed than some of our competitors who are running a type A seed distribution system. When there are two changes in direction, their fan speed needs to be up because that seed is changing direction so many times. Just to get the product from the meter to the opener, the fan needs to go up. So we can run a lower fan speed and still get accurate, very accurate seeding, I should say. And we can have a large width drill. You can get up to an 80-foot drill. So that's the advantage to type B seed distribution and the easy flow headers. So great question, Tim.
Is it going to increase the hose life because we're running less airflow, less velocity going through the system?
Yep. So Tim just asked, will it increase our hose life because we are running a lower fan speed than a type A seed distribution system? Of course, it would increase our hose life. If you are running a lower fan speed, the product is not running slower, but the fan speed doesn't have to run as fast. Actually, it is running slower. Product is running slower through here because it doesn't have to run as fast to get through those turns. So the hose life will be increased greatly because of the type B seed distribution system with only one turn in the system. So yes, hose life will be increased. Great question. So we talked about the towers and the easy flow headers. Coming through to our secondary runs is our intelligent Ag system. So this intelligent Ag system, it's labeled with the in and out for the secondary run. And the way that this system will work, so in and out, seed will come into the sensor, bounce off of this steel plate as it travels through the sensor and out to your opener. When seed bounces off of this steel plate, the sound will travel through this little rubber hose, and that sound is recorded by your ECU. The ECU will process the sounds from every one of your secondary runs, and it will send the information to your iPad where you can see what is going on in your secondary run. So you can see if a run is blocked, you can see if a run is partially blocked. You can also see the flow variance across your secondary run. So the difference between one hose and the next, how much product is going through that hose. Now, in order to get flow variance, you have to have a minimum of 2 sensors on that tower, because you can't get a flow variance or a flow difference with only 1 sensor. So if you are looking to get flow variance, you need to have at least 2 sensors equipped on the tower to get that. So that is our Intelligent Ag system. The advantage to Intelligent Ag over some other systems is because it uses acoustic, there is no lens in that sensor for product to get that lens dirty or cover, so then you're always getting a reading from your sensor. It just uses sound. So whether or not you're having seed treatment or product that dirties up that sensor, it will still record a sound and you'll still get a reading from that run. Where some of the other blockage systems use optic sensors, so they're actually looking for the flow, looking for seed. Those lenses can get dirty, product can gum up those lenses, and then you have no blockage system. So the blockage system gets blocked, as ironic as that sounds. But that is our Intelligent Ag system. So it uses acoustic sensors. And another advantage, which I believe this is an advantage, is it's a wireless system. So you're not diagnosing harness issues, and you're not running the risk of harnesses getting tangled up in the folding system. And I shouldn't say it's completely wireless. There are 2 wires that go to each ECU, a red and a black power and ground wire. So those are the only wires that are on the system, just the power and ground to your ECUs, but there's no wires from the ECU to each sensor. It's a little rubber hose that the sound will travel through. And then the ECU will send a signal to your iPad. So it's a wireless system other than the power and ground, so it's easier to diagnose if there are issues. And there's a nice light on your ECU that indicates if we have power. So the light would come up right there. So the advantage to not having wires, you're not going to get them tangled up when you're folding your drill. And if there is a wiring issue, sometimes wiring issues aren't fun to diagnose and fix either. And corrosion, yeah, corrosion on harnesses and wiring. So that's the Intelligent Ag system. We'll now cover the back of the drill and then move into our openers. So at the back of the drill, we have our lighting harness, cross tillage lighting harness. It is factory installed. You can also get a isobus, cross tillage isobus harness installed at the dealership. That is not factory installed for a tow between tank. So it is optional. You can get it ordered and we can install it at the dealership if required. That's the rear of the tank. We have our lights back here, and we can move into the openers. So we have the opening assembly for the P2082 and the P2080. So the P2080 is the single chute. The P2082 is the double chute. Now you'll notice a couple differences right off the bat about the two. You'll notice that the spring on the double chute is gray, while the spring on the single chute is black. Are we still good? While the spring on the single chute is black. Now, the spring on the single chute is about half of the strength, half of the material as the double chute spring. You'll notice the gray spring is much thicker and it's a much stronger spring. So you'll notice that right off the bat, the difference in colors and width of the actual material on the spring. You'll also notice at the back of the opener, the closer wheels are on different angles. So the closer wheel on the single chute is on a much steeper angle than the closer wheel on the double chute. The reason being is the single chute creates a much smaller trench. It's only a single chute disc opener. So that small of a trench can be really hard to close. Putting it on the steep angle gives us an effective closing wheel to close that trench on the single chute. The double chute creates a bigger trench. We are double shooting in the same opening, so we can put the closing wheel on a parallel to the ground, and it will close the trench that is a little bit bigger. So that's a couple of the differences you'll notice right off the bat between the single chute and the double chute. Now, our double chute openers are a true double chute opener. Some of our competitors claim to have a double chute disc drill, which what they've actually done is just taken two single chute openers, and put them, in line close to each other. We have a double chute opener. So we place our fertilizer and our seed in the same opening system. So less hydraulic demand. We're not running two opening systems to put seed and fertilizer down. We are running our seed and fertilizer through the same opening system. Our seed adjustment, our depth adjustment, seed and fertilizer, is controlled using this arm. As I said, there's no tools required. What you're doing when you adjust this arm, I'll just swing this around, is you are actually changing the relationship between the wheel, the depth wheel, and the disc. So when you have the wheel all the way up, that disc will protrude past the wheel about 3.5 inches to give you that 3.5 inches of depth. When you have it all the way down, the wheel and the disc are almost on the exact same level, so the disc will go slightly in the ground, but the seed will be right on top of the ground. So that's how you change your depth of the seed and the fertilizer, by changing the relationship of the wheel to the disc. So the disc will go deeper in the ground. The wheel will ride on top of the ground. Now, the way that our fertilizer and our seed is placed is the fertilizer is placed with the disc. So the disc is going to cut a trench and place the fertilizer in that trench. The seed is actually the seed shelf, because the seed is placed 3/4 of an inch above and 3/4 of an inch over, which is optimum fertilizer to seed placement. The seed is placed on a shelf that is created with the scraper and the opener. So the fertilizer, the disc cuts a fertilizer trench 3/4 of an inch above that. The scraper will start the shelf. So it will start the shelf 3/4 of an inch above the trench. The opener will finish creating that shelf. The opener will then place the seed on top of that shelf, and the closer wheel will close the trench up right behind the opener. So fertilizer is placed with the disc. The scraper starts the shelf, opener finishes the shelf, places the seed on the shelf, and then the closer wheel closes the trench. So that is how our fertilizer and our seed is placed, and that is why we don't have any trouble with hairpinning with our seed, because the seed trench, or seed shelf, is not created with the disc. It's actually created with the opening system. So that's why we don't hairpin our seed. Now, as this disc starts to wear, the relationship between the fertilizer and the seed will start to get smaller because the disc is getting smaller. So the scraper and the opener are both adjustable. This is a slotted scraper, so you can loosen this off and change the opener, change the scraper. The opener can be loosened off as well, and you can change the position of the opener to raise and lower it as well. So as this disc starts to wear, you may have to change that relationship. You will have to change that relationship so that your fertilizer and your seed are still at optimum distance at 3/4 of an inch. Our closer wheel, you can change the pressure of our closer wheel when closing that trench, which is done with this spring. So when you have it all the way up, you have the most pressure down on that closer wheel. All the way down has the least pressure on the closer wheel. We recommend start in the middle and go see how the closer wheel is doing, see the pressure on the ground, and adjust it as you feel. So if it's too much, back it off. If it's not enough, put it in the top position. The closer wheel can also be moved side to side. So depending on the soil conditions, you may have to actually move the closer wheel over. There are little spacers on each side. Simply take the bolt out, put the spacer on the other side, put it back together. So that does not have to be done very often, but in case you were having a tough time closing that trench, that may be what needs to be done. And that is our double chute opener, if we have any questions.
I have a question.
Okay.
You knew that was coming?
Yeah, I did.
The opener, the sideband opener, what's the life expectancy like? And does it have carbide on it? Is it just a...
Oh, okay, yeah. So Tim was asking for this opener for the seed trench. What kind of life expectancy can we expect out of it, and what is the wear like? These openers have carbide in them, so they're a long, extended wear opener. The exact life expectancy,
Depends on soil.
yeah, it would depend on soil conditions and operating speed. There's a lot of factors there, but because these have carbide inside of them, they're a long life opener, and the wear is not significant on the opening assembly. So that's a great question. And something else that I'm just quickly going to bring up, our discs run straight up and down with a slight angle on them. And so that also helps us eliminate hairpinning in our fertilizer trench, which is not as important as the seed trench, but it still helps us eliminate hairpinning in our fertilizer trench as well. So not just our seed trench has no hairpinning, our fertilizer trench also has very limited hairpinning as well. So great question on the opening assembly. And one thing also before I forget, there are 2 grease points on these openers. They require to be greased once a year, and then they're good for the season, but just don't forget, one in the back and then one in the middle. So 2 grease points. Any other questions? Anything you can think of? Anything coming in?
Believe it or not, nothing coming in. Believe it or not, you did good.
Oh, nice. But yeah, maybe we'll stay online here for another 10, 15 seconds. Wait for any questions to come through. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, maybe we'll give it a couple minutes for any questions to come through, anything that needs to be asked. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for joining our clinic. I know this is not what we really wanted to do. We would have preferred to have everybody come in and we could have actually given you guys coffee and donuts and you know, actually done a real clinic. But really with the year that we've had, this is kind of the way that we have to do things, right? So thank you guys for tuning in and understanding exactly what's going on. So
And next year, Wyatt is going to stand on the scale and we'll see what he weighs.
yeah.
So
Lose some
come
weight.
back again next year, guys.
Yeah. So we'll give you guys a little bit longer here. Any questions that you guys might have. And also if you have questions after, feel free to ask us at Robertson Implements. I'm sure you guys know the guys. You can give us a call and we can answer any questions too outside of this clinic as well. So,
Okay.
well, with that, thank you guys and have a good rest of your day.